About breaking heart. I don't have a broken heart because I gave away my heart very early on in my life, so nobody can break it. I gave it away. You should do that, then nobody can break it. See, we must understand this. What is a love affair? Is it okay? Mechanics of love affair, we can look at it. I'm not trying to de-romanticize everything. It's just this. Let's say you were 10 years of age. You looked around, the world was quite normal. Hello? Was it normal when you were 10, 12? It was normal. I'm not picking on you because you're in the first row, okay? So it was looking quite normal. Suddenly, after some time, you got little poisoned, chemically poisoned. Then you looked, every little bump on somebody's body looks like a world by itself. Hello? Till then everything was okay, isn't it? You're 10, 12, it's okay. You became 13 and you look like this, suddenly this is a world by itself. The neighborhood squawny girl who didn't mean a damn thing to you, suddenly she's the focus, she's the apple of your eye. Yes? So this is because your intelligence has been hijacked by your hormones. So it is making funny things happen. It is making you believe all kinds of things. When you look back and say you'll feel stupid, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong about it. But it's very important that we understand what's happening to us. Otherwise we'll do idiotic things that we may regret later. It is not a question of morality, it is a question of handling our life sense. Serial heartbreak business can leave you paranoid about anything, about bonding with anybody in your life. Yes or no? You had serial heartbreaks, it looked like fun for some time. After some time, you just don't actually trust anybody in your life because another human being is a problem, always. Only when our emotions allow you to cross that problem, in some way they get included. But if we have serial heartbreaks, we will never allow our emotion to cross those barriers. We will always be cautious because anyway this is come with a… expiry date. When people come with an expiry date, yes, there is an expiry date for all of us, but relationships, the idea of building relationships is that it's of support on all levels of life, so that two people, that means two brains and two bodies can do better than one in many ways, in various aspects of life, in profession, in domestic situation, in life, in companionship, in emotion, in arranging and organizing our lives, in every way. Two people can do better than one person, that is the idea. And of course, nature is pushing us together because nature doesn't care about your love affair, it just wants you to reproduce. Yes? You think Mother Nature is worried whether you love or you don't love, it wants you to reproduce. But we've overdone that a little bit, there's no hurry, we don't have to yield to that. Hello? Yes? If you were a tiger, I would encourage you, please reproduce because it's an endangered species. Human beings definitely not endangered, we are endangering everything. So reproduction is not the purpose right now, we have kept it aside. But nature's push is towards that. But we have emotional needs, physical needs, psychological needs, maybe financial and social needs, variety of needs. To conduct these needs in a dignified way, to conduct these needs in a… See, once you come as a human being, you can't do things, though they're the same things what the animals do, but we would like to do it more gracefully, consciously. Whether we eat or we copulate or we sleep, we like to do it little more aesthetically right. That's an important thing. For that, we need the cooperation of another person who is also somehow congruent to us. Every 2 days, if you have heartbreaks and going on, well, you will see. the trouble of that.
That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. We are born from that. If that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. Now you made a very sweeping statement, a prejudice from the spiritual dimension. I want you to understand, spiritually, there is no mention of menstrual cycles anywhere because spiritually you cannot have menstrual cycles. Only physiologically you can have, okay? So it's a physiological issue which reflects as a psychological factor in a certain segment of women, I wouldn't say everyone, but quite a substantial segment of women find a reflection of their physiological process in their psychological makeup, which is a fact that has to be taken care of. If this is being said only because some temples and other things have said women cannot enter at that time, you need to understand this, from where this comes from. Today's woman you forget about. How she's equipped, how she's capable of handling her bodily needs and other things are a different matter. I want you to look back 1,000 years ago. What kind of sanitary facilities did she have? What kind of processes did she have? So, there could be issues about that, isn't it? It's only for that reason, they said, and above all, you need to understand the level of physical activity for a normal woman in those days. Cooking for 15, 20 people, taking care of the cows, taking care of the children, everything is hers. It's a tremendous amount of physical activity. So, the woman who is going through a certain process of her cycle, she gets 3 days, 4 days break from everything. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Because that's a time where it is almost like a molting period for a woman on one level. It's not as big as molting, but it's almost like that. That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. Somebody else cooks for you, which never happens in her life. Every day she cooks, for those 4 days somebody else cooks for her, somebody else serves her food, she sits alone by herself, she meditates, she sings, she does prayer. Isn't this a good way of doing things, I'm asking? Do not consider this as today's life. Look back 1,000 years ago when these things were made. It was a very good way of protecting our women. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. A woman should not come here, should not come there. That is just out of ignorance certain things happen. It has nothing to do with the spiritual world, because if my mother did not have menstrual cycles, I wouldn't be born. No. We are born from that. If that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. It's a ridiculous thought even to think like that. It is not because of purity and impurity this has come. It has come for practical reasons. Even today I meet thousands of women who suffer a lot at that time because they still have to go to work, they still have to deal with everything. There are many of them who are on medication at that time just to keep their psychological balance. They would definitely enjoy rest, they would definitely enjoy a little bit of seclusion from everything that they are doing. But thinking it is pure, impure question is coming in a very rudimentary mind. It is no fundamental sense about life. The fear is simply because you're not living with life, you're living in your mind. Your fear is always about what's going to happen next. That means your fear is always about that which does not exist. If your fear is about the non-existent, your fear is 100% imaginary. If you're suffering the non-existential, we call that insanity. So, people may be in just socially accepted levels of insanity, but if you're afraid or if you're suffering anything which does not exist, it amounts to insanity, isn't it? People are always suffering, either what happened yesterday or what may happen tomorrow. So your suffering is always about that which does not exist, simply because you're not rooted in reality. You're always rooted in your mind. Mind is… one part of it is memory, another part of it is imagination. Both of them are in one way imagination, because both of them don't exist right now. You're lost in your imagination, that's the basis of your fear. If you were rooted in reality, there would be no fear. So, what you're referring to as love is a certain moment of pleasantness. If love is true, it will happen without an object. Every moment of your life you must know that pleasantness. You must constantly fall in love with everything and nothing. It all depends what is your idea of love, first of all. If you fell in love with one woman, one bird, one ant, one tree and something, then your love is not driven by anything, you're just falling in love. If continuously you're falling in love only with women, means your love is driven by your hormones. You better understand that. So what is driven by something, you want to label it as love, it is fine. I'm not saying there's no love at all, there is. But what is true and what is not true is not something that you decide because of this, because of what happened or what did not happen. It is a question of how you felt. Whether it ended up in marriage, then you realize it was not love, or it did not end that way and you thought it was true love which was never realized. It's up to you how you want to handle it. But essentially, what love means is, if your physical body becomes very pleasant, generally we call this health and pleasure. If your mind becomes very pleasant, we call this peace and joy. If your emotions become very pleasant, we call this love and compassion. If your life energies become very pleasant, we call this blissfulness and ecstasy. So, what you're referring to as love is a certain moment of pleasantness. Now you believe somebody caused it in you, maybe somebody did trigger it in you, somebody did stimulate that in you or inspire that in you. But essentially it is your emotions turning very pleasant, which you call as love. So, if love is true, it will happen without an object. If it's really genuine, true love, what it means is, you have made your emotions very pleasant. Whether a man is here or a woman is here or a tree is here, an ant is here, elephant is here is not the point. You've just made your emotions pleasant. Everything that you behold, you have a certain pleasantness towards it, that is love. Now this continuously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all are women. It's driven by hormones. Nothing… I'm not saying it's anything wrong with it, but you must understand the limitation of it. So, if it ends up in a permanent bond in the form of marriage or whatever, then you think it's successful. If it did not, you think it's a failure. It need not be so. I would be happy if you fell in love with a 3 billion woman, and don't leave the other 3 billion men also. If you fell in love with 3 billion women, it wouldn't be hormonal, it would be just love. I'm in love with all the women in the world, and the men also, the ants also, and the very soil that I walk upon, and the very tree under which we are sitting right now. Whatever you behold, you have pleasant emotion towards that, is love. And love is not about somebody, it's about you being pleasant, truly pleasant. And is this right, wrong, this, that is not the thing. It is an intelligent way to exist. There is sufficient unpleasantness in the world. However carefully you walk, you will step into something or the other. When this is so, you don't have to manufacture your own unpleasantness within you. Only 3 times in your life if you loved, I think you're a misfortune. For the rest of the time, you have not known that pleasantness within you. Every moment of your life you must know that pleasantness. You must constantly fall in love with everything and nothing. Women also included, what's the problem with them? Because you cannot tie a bond with 3 billion women, you choose one. One is convenient. If you marry 5, then you will find it's very inconvenient. Yes? One is convenient, and above all, the reason why you tie a bond with somebody is, at least with one person in your whole life, you want somebody with whom there's no holds barred. If you approach a new person, always there is a little bit of, there's a little bit of war and games happening. War games are happening with a new person. With one person you want to relax, where you don't have to play games. At least with one person, you want to be in total relaxation. That's the idea. Why you want at least one person? That is, still you have not reached a point where you are simply relaxed by yourself, with life itself. Because you are unable to relax with the whole manifestation of life around you, the million manifestations of life around you totally, at least with one person you want to find that. That's the idea of finding a bond or building a bond. So people who look beyond that are people, they don't value relaxing with one person because now they're able to relax with just about anything. They are totally at ease with everything in existence. Now they don't find the need to make a bond where only at one place some relaxation happens. Rest of the place you are warlike, always trying to protect yourself. One place where you can keep your defense mechanism down, because only when you keep your defense mechanism down, something beautiful can happen to you, and the need to protect yourself is gone. So the idea of forming a unit of family and the larger identities of community, nation and whatever else is simply to find a space where you can keep your defense mechanism down, be in a certain sense of ease, because only in that ease, the other possibility will find expression. Otherwise, you will be just like an animal, constantly trying to survive, preserve yourself. So, love is seen as a possibility to go beyond that instinct of self-preservation, where you're not trying to preserve yourself, you're trying to offer yourself to something or somebody. For that you don't need a person, you can just do it simply with life.
Each of these videos is a construction, and whoever reaches the end is helping to sustain this work. If this content resonated with you, leave a comment, share it, subscribe, and of course, give it a like. Also, take a look at the links in the description. There are more paths for you to explore. Thanks a lot, big hug, and see you in the next video.